Some say that clients will feel you are imposing on them if you ask them to introduce you to people they know. Others would say that getting introduced is the only effective way to prospect. Let's look at both the pros and cons, and I'll share my opinion at the end of this video. So should you ask clients for introductions? Well, welcome to the Big Mission channel, home of the triple threat solution, sales training, sales CRM, and sales management all in one cohesive integrated package. We help leaders create a sales culture where producers write more $10,000 to $75,000 revenue accounts so that your agency thrives and you build an army of $1 million producers. And that is a win-win, isn't it? First off, let's talk about why are a lot of producers uncomfortable asking for introductions. And here's the big concern. It's going to destroy the client relationship. See, many producers feel they are imposing on their client. See, the client is busy. And why should the client have to take their valuable time to pick up the phone, make a call, or set up a lunch for you? Many producers feel that asking their clients to do that could damage the relationship. They're afraid their client might feel pressured. And others have said it can make their clients feel like they're being used. Well, if that's true, it could damage the trust that's been built over time. Here's the next big concern. The fear of rejection. There's that fear that the client might say no. And there are many reasons the client might say no. Some make sense, some maybe not so. It could be just their personality. It's just not who they are. They feel uncomfortable in situations like this. They did it once before and they got burned. Or maybe they introduced someone in the past and that person just didn't do a good job. Or someone was introduced to them and that didn't work out. So none of this is fatal, but it can feel that way. And it's enough of a concern that most producers never get around to asking for introduction. But it doesn't stop there. Some are concerned it makes me look incapable. See, some producers believe that asking for introductions implies they are not able to generate leads on their own, which can make them appear less confident or less professional. And in their mind, that's a slippery slope because they just don't want to go down, fearing they'll lose the respect of their client. But let's look at the bright side. Introductions are a powerful prospecting tool. Many successful producers swear by introductions as the most effective way to prospect. And here's why they believe asking for introductions is not only okay, but essential. It's a transfer of trust. The biggest advantage? Well, when a client introduces you to someone, they're transferring their trust to you, which makes that new prospect more open to hearing what you have to offer. And it leads to higher conversion rates. See, introductions often lead to higher conversion rates than cold calling or other outreach methods. And why? Well, because there's already a level of credibility established through the relationship with the original client. And then it's also more efficient and scalable. Look, asking for introductions can save you time and energy. For you to meet the C-suite level buyer, it could take 100 dials to finally break through. With an introduction from one of your clients, you can get the same work done in 5 minutes. It's targeted. Plus, you are picking the target or prospect you want to meet. And that is a crucial and critical difference between introductions and referrals. With introductions, you are actively doing your research and asking your client to introduce you to a specific person that you know you want to meet. It's a much more efficient way to build your pipeline compared to traditional prospecting methods like cold calling, which can be time-consuming and often yield lower results. How can you ask for introductions without feeling like you're imposing on your clients? Here are a few strategies that can help make it a natural and comfortable part of your process. So when is the best time to ask for an introduction? Some would say don't ask for introductions until you've proven yourself. But that could be terrible advice. You could be wasting a lot of time and opportunity. And see, if you sell using the wedge, then you're selling using proactive services that the incumbent could have been doing, but wasn't providing. If you sold the account using the wedge and you set up a written service plan to provide significant value to your client, you can ask immediately to get introduced. Your value proposition is supported with your documented deliverables, your written service plan. You've earned the right to ask, and your client already has a strong story to tell. And this also assumes you follow through on your promises. If your selling style is more focused on price, coverage, and reactive service like getting out certs on time or returning phone calls, you might want to wait until you've fortified that relationship and proven yourself to be responsive. And when they're thrilled with your work, they'll be happy to introduce you then. So here's the next thing. Frame it as a favor to others, not to you. Position it as a way to help others, not as a favor to you. And so here's an example. Hey, don't you know John over at the Spartan Chemical Company? Hey, if he knew this kind of service plan was available, do you think he'd want it? And then when they say, yeah, probably so, then you go, well, would you want him to have it? Well, sure. Okay, well, would you be willing to call him, tell him about it, and see if he wants to talk? Be specific and respectful. Instead of a vague request for a referral, who do you know that could benefit from what we've done for you? Be specific about who you want to meet. As a commercial insurance agent, you have a huge advantage over most other salespeople in that you have data available to you about who they do business with. And you could also review their incoming certs if you requested that, plus all the outgoing certs are in your agency management system. And some of the applications you fill out require you to ask who their top vendors and clients are. Clues are everywhere about who they know, and a little research goes a long way. So here's my opinion on asking for introductions. Asking for introductions is at the heart of doubling your income with half as many accounts. Look, if you want to rapidly grow your income, this is the fastest way. Your clients are a resource that can get you in the door of your best prospects in minutes, not months or years. And I'd encourage you to put your best clients on a written service timeline, fortifying the value you bring and insulating them from your toughest competitors. When you do, their story about you gets better and better. Then do your homework. Find out who they know that you want to meet. And as we said earlier, the clues are at your fingertips. Then ask in a respectful and direct way. Hey, John is somebody I'd like to meet. Would you be willing to make a phone call, tell them what it's been like working with us, and see if they want to talk? And if you want to be even more effective, then coach your client through what you want them to say about you. If not, they'll probably say something like, hey, yeah, Hank's a good guy. We like him and trust him. I'm going to have him give you a call. And that's not bad, but there's no meat on that bone other than relationship. We use a structure called SODAR. It gets the meat on the table, all the stuff you've done for your client. And when you use it just right, it helps you put a very solid monetary value on your work. And this makes for a better story your client can tell about you, which makes the prospect more excited to want to meet you. Look, if you're a producer and you want to double your income fast, this is the fastest way. I had a young guy named Martin, a father of 3 kids. His wife was still working. He'd been selling insurance for 6 to 7 years and had built a $300,000 book, making about $100,000 a year and feeling pretty good about himself. I took him through some serious goal setting and quickly came to the conclusion he needed to make a lot more money if he was going to get ahead of the financial curve, meaning to save enough to pre-fund 3 cars, 3 college tuitions, 3 weddings, and a solid retirement. I taught him the wedge as a sales process and red-hot introductions as his prospecting process. 2 years later, he had written an additional $600,000 in revenue, and that pushed him over the $1 million book threshold. It literally took him 26 months to go from $300K to over $1 million. Look, if you're an agency owner, you know there are millions of dollars of revenue tied up in your producer's ability to ask for and get red-hot introductions. If it's not happening at the pace you desire, it's time to consider a change in 3 things. First, you can't just say to your guys, hey man, you need to do better. You should be asking for referrals because it won't move the needle. You need to train them, get the right words coming off their vocal cords to the point they get comfortable with this new language pattern. Secondly is data. Set some goals around building a database of prospects that their clients can introduce them to. You can't ask to meet someone if you don't know who they know. Asking for referrals is easier, but doesn't work as well. The lazy man's way is to not do their homework and to ask the client, hey, who do you know that can benefit from what we've done for you? And your client will say, hey, give me a couple of weeks and get back with me. But most of the time, you don't get back with them. Then nothing happens. And why don't you get back with them? Well, it's mostly mental trash. You say to yourself, if they wanted to help, they would have given me someone. And everyone knows there's no magic in 2 weeks. And during that period of time, they won't have thought about it. So instead of embarrassing or worse, harassing them, you blow it off. Hence, nothing happens. So the secret to success here, set some solid goals around how many prospects and how much revenue, build the database. You have to know who you want to meet. And then third is coaching and accountability. You're creating a new habit. Your producers probably have some fear or anxiety. We call it avoidance emotions. These avoidance emotions have historically stopped them from doing this. So you keep working them through it. I mean, look up the concept of stress inoculation. Here are the steps: conceptualization, acquisition of a skill, rehearsal, apply, and then follow through. And here's why that's important. A friend of mine is a special ops dude. He was a combat controller in the Air Force, and he had multiple radios. He'd be out on a team with a couple of Navy SEALs, a couple of Army Rangers, a couple of other special ops people, and he's controlling the airspace. And I asked him, I said, man, that's got to be a stressful job. How do you train people to do that? And he said, stress inoculation. We start with low stress, move to higher stress, move to higher stress, move to higher stress. That's how you get people comfortable. And so you as a coach need to do the same thing. So here's the thing I want you to think about. We built tools and training right into Bignition to help you train, coach, and develop your producers to become masters of gaining red hot introductions. You can check it out at bignition.io. It's the triple threat solution for middle market agencies that want to write $7,500 to $75,000 accounts and drive organic growth. It's unique in that it's a combination of sales training, sales CRM, and sales management platform, all integrated into one system, making it easy for you and your producers. So thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about asking for introductions? Let's talk about it.